Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel where I teach you how to analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries so you can become a better trader. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, what it did last week, and what we can potentially look for next week. Now, I am bearish on Bitcoin. I did take a short entry, and that short entry is up almost 50%. Right from where I took the short. So it's doing good. I did take profits on it, so my account didn't almost double, right? I took profits, but from where I took the original entry to where price is trading at now would have been a 50% gain. The reason I'm saying that is not to brag or anything. I just want you guys to know that shorts are getting paid right now. Even in the funding rates, shorts are getting paid. Longs got liquidated. Anybody that got long up above where we are now, they're done. It's over with. They got liquidated. They are sitting in pain. I am looking for a bounce. The problem is I don't know how high that bounce will go, but I am going to show you why I'm bearish in this video. If you've been following this channel for any length of time, then you know that I've been screaming from the rooftops for people to mine their downside risk for months. And the reason was because of the Fed, the FOMC. So since 2 or 3 FOMCs ago, I've been telling people to mind their downside because the monetary policy is changing. I started talking about it first when I heard the Fed members discussing potential rate hikes. They didn't announce it in a meeting. We were just hearing rumors. Some of the members were talking to the press and they were extremely hawkish. When I heard that news, that's when I started telling people to prepare. All right, so let's go out to the 2-week time frame. This is one of my favorite macro time frames. This helps me get a macro bias. And when we took out the high up here and put in a bearish engulfing, I was pretty much looking for follow through. I mean, you typically do get follow through on your bearish engulfings on 2-week time frames, right? Here, boom, there. So that's what we were looking for. We did get that continuation to the downside. Now, the reason I think that Bitcoin is done and the top is in is because of all this price action. Now, I was looking for this to be the top, but we know that price is chaotic and unpredictable, so it didn't end up working out. And all I'm looking at this is a liquidation run. That's all this was. I think the sell side was exhausted over here, and this bounce was just price moving up higher, looking for supply because there was a lot of demand down here. So when we got above the old all-time high, we instantly reversed almost. I mean, in a period of 5 weeks, we traded just sideways. We got above the all-time high, traded sideways, made one final push, and then instantly rejects. We should have seen a short squeeze per take from there. The reason is because of all the higher buyers. When you take a short position, that puts you in the market as a higher buyer because of your stop loss. And the market likes to look for higher buyers, just like it likes to look for lower sellers. Once we triggered all those higher buyers, if the market was going to have demand and continue its squeeze to the upside, then we would have seen that and not a massive rejection and reversal. The rejection and the reversal is what started making us look a little bit more bearish than bullish because of what occurred at the old all-time high. We did not get that short squeeze. What we did get was supply. Lots of it. Look at this move that you got. On this capitulation wick, this was our downside target. The capitulation wick low. That was our downside target. And we have taken that out. We have even taken out this low here. So the next low is going to be this one, right? That's going to be the next downside target. If I stretch this out, you can see how you do got a slight wick below that. So we could see a bounce from here. I am looking for a bounce to come. If you look at the RSI, we are at the 50, right? So if we get enough liquidity down here, then we could see that bounce. But I'm only looking for a lower high. Once we get that bounce, I'm only looking for a lower high. I'm looking for potential short side entries at anywhere from 50 to 55K. I will only be bullish on Bitcoin again once we get above $60,000, or if the 4-year cycle model plays out and this is the beginning of the bear market phase. Then I will look to buy around what I think would be the bear market low. So, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Right now, we're talking about last week, this week coming. So what I'm looking for is I am looking for potentially a push lower down to this candle wick low there. And then we could potentially see a bounce back up to at least 2-week old 2-week support. Now we'll probably trade sideways and range bound for a little bit in this area. So don't get too, don't get too excited. Yeah, because basically price can chop around sideways forever. So if you look here at higher price and the oscillator, you can see bearish divergence that did form on the 2-week time frame, and that's pretty big bearish divergence too. So getting long up here was not part of anybody's plan, or should have been part of anybody's plan. I don't really trade divergences. I show them when I see them, and there was a massive one right there. Well, it's too late for that anyways. And this is probably the move that we're getting now, because we're back down. Let's pull this up. We're back down into the 50 spot, so a potential bounce is coming. What I want to see on this 8 days, so be 8 days patient, please. But in 8 days, I want to see this candle close above $43,178, which is 2-week support. If we do not close above that, then the potential next level that we will be looking for will be this bullish candle. That will be your next potential area if we take out this swing low, right? And that's setting at $35,800. So we'll see what happens, but that's potentially a spot to look for a bounce. And then the 2-week support is a decent spot to look for a bounce. This is a bear market. There's nothing else you can say about this. This is a 2-week time frame, and you are at your 50. The weekly, you're probably under it. You are. Boom. What a beautiful sell that was. What a check. Boom. Short side. That is also where I'm short. Not completely up there. I'm short at 47,000. So a little bit lower than that peak. All right. That's where I'm short from. Boom. Moving lower. So, I mean, that's a bear market. And if you go into the daily, let's see, the 3-day bear market, daily bear market, oversold even on the daily. So there's another potential reason why you could see a bounce. Don't buy oversold markets, guys, because all oversold is that means that the sell side momentum is brutal. The bears are in control of this asset, right? This is the sell I got in right here, right there. Not that one, but here, this peak right here, this bounce. That's where I got short on this bullish pop. Boom. And it's working out great. So, yeah, don't get short, or don't look to buy this just yet, because oversold can stay oversold just like overbought can stay overbought. Look when you first came into overbought regions over here, right? Right into, we'll call this close, that daily close here. $55,000. If you were trying to short there, you got absolutely wrecked, because price just continued to go higher. So we could see that happen on the oscillator still as the bears push this thing lower. Be very careful, guys. You're in a bear market, right? You're in a bear market on everything from a 2-week time frame and under. So be careful. We're looking for a bounce pretty soon, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Let's go over here to this real fast. I want to talk about the 21 exponential moving average on the BLX index. The reason is because the BLX index has the most data that we got. So we'll go into the first. This was the very first halving and bull market phase that Bitcoin had. You can see once you got a close below your 2-week 21 exponential moving average, that pretty much marked the end for Bitcoin. We didn't see another new all-time high once that occurred. You did get a bounce, and a bounce away from the 21, but you were right back under it again. And the second time you got under it, that signified the top. It was over until your bear market cycle low. All right, let's move on to the second halving. This was 2017, 2018 bull market cycle. Same scenario. The 21 exponential moving average stayed underneath price until you got your move lower. There's your close below it there. Same scenario, you got a small bounce back above it. Once you got back below it again, boom, done. Based out, push, bear market low. All right, and then here we got above it. Here we go, 2020, new halving happened right in this area. So this is your bullish market push, right? Boom, come down. There's your first close. Here is your bounce above it. And here we are. Are we marking the top? This could be potentially the top on Bitcoin. The 8 days left on this close will be significant for this 21 exponential moving average. Once again, I will look for the same thing that occurred over there in the other previous market cycles, a push, but that push, in my opinion, will be a sellable event. That's where I will be looking to get short and for the bear market ride to the lows. That's what I'm looking for. Doesn't mean that that's going to play out, guys, right? And I hate giving people bad news. It really affects everything. But I want you guys to be prepared. Nobody else is telling you to get prepared. In fact, I'm still seeing people talk about how this is just a pullback. And I mean, really? Really? It's just a pullback? I mean, it's a bear market on every single time frame under a 2 week. And one last thing, let's do this. Let's go back over to Bitcoin so I can show you this. I have talked about this many times, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's important. So if you want to use trend lines, then this was the bullish trend line that we had. This was the most bullish that Bitcoin, here we go. This was the trend line. So here is the March 2020 sell-off. This is when the Fed instituted uber bullish monetary policy. And you can see that this trend line has capped every single close above it. Even here, we still closed above the trend line. Here was a test of the trend line. There was your second push. Here was your third test of the trend line. There was your next push. This is the first time that we lost that trend line. This is the bullish market, this bullish market cycle's trend line. And it has been broken to the downside, right? We came back up, we retested that. And I even told everybody when this was happening, this doesn't look good. We need to see a 2 week close above this trend line to continue the bullish market cycle. We broke back below and we are seeing bearish continuation. Your bull market cycle, your bull market run is potentially over. Now, one other thing, the 4-year market cycle to remember is the previous 2 bullish market tops were put in November, December, both of them. This is the 3rd time we have seen that. So someone asked me on Twitter, when is this model invalidated? The model will be invalidated if Bitcoin makes a new bullish push, because we had December and we seen a near-term top put in. So if Bitcoin makes new all-time highs and then puts in a short squeeze and runs up to those insane prices, then the 4-year cycle model is broken. But as long as this remains to be the top, the 4-year market cycle is still good in my opinion, and we will be looking for potential buying opportunities again on Bitcoin around March 2024, right over here. Anywhere in this. The price isn't really important. What is important to me is the time. I do not know that this is going to be the bear market low. Essentially, all I did was took 80% off the highs and I come up with this figure. But something that is interesting also is if we go back over here to the yearly chart on the BLX index, you can see every time Bitcoin put in its bull market phase, you had a year of a bear market, right? You had boom, boom, there's your breakout, come back in for a retest. Boom, straight up. Then you put in a top, marked resistance, that held, bear market. Then our second attempt to get above it, that's when we got above it. We never did come back in for a retest of that level, even on the daily time frame. So if you look at this price, 13,899 spot 65, if Bitcoin was to push all the way down there, I'd be buying a hand over fist. I am not calling $13,000 as bear market low for Bitcoin. I am not doing that. However, if it does get down there, I will buy hand over fist because that's old yearly resistance. Be a fantastic spot. It just so happens that that is also an 80% pullback off the highs. So, I mean, there's 2 little spots of confluence, but we're still way too far away to call a bear market low, guys. But this will be when I'm looking to buy again. Once we get over here in March 2024, now I will be buying and shorting the smaller intra-week moves because I am a day trader. So, and I will be doing that on the inverse swap contract so that way I can accumulate more Bitcoin for the next bull market phase. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you share it to everybody, please, so that way everybody knows what at least one person's looking for and looking at for the next few months to come. So thank you guys so much for your time. If you're still here, you rock. You guys make sure you trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.